Hey everybody, welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to PCP Movie Night. It's the show where we gather every week to talk about the movie of the week, and we are continuing SciFi Fest 2026 tonight with a look at Gattaca from 1997, starring Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, Jude Law. It is written and directed by Andrew Niccol, who you will know as the screenwriter of The Truman Show, also directed movies such as Lord of War. We got a great panel. We are kicking off week 2 of the very first Sci-Fi Fest ever between us here at PCP Movie Night and our homie Fable over at One Collection Down. Last week, we here did Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951. And then on Friday night, I joined the crew over at One Collection Down. We talked about Starship Troopers, another sci-fi movie from 1997 that, like this one, was a bit underappreciated at the time. Cannot wait to get into it. We got some fans. We got some first-timers here, including first-time watch from Brooks. What's up, homie? Live from the Matrix in Tel Aviv. How are you?
Pretty good.
First time watch for you for Gattaca.
I've never heard of this movie, but I seem to remember it being referenced or something. I knew of it, but I'd never seen it, obviously.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to diving into your thoughts. We are also joined by a fan of this movie from Cliff on Comics. It's our homie Cliff. What's up, homie?
Hello. Great to be here. And yes, I am a fan of this movie, mostly because Jude Law is super hot.
He is. And this was like his first big role in an American film. Like, this is before The Talented Mr. Ripley. It's before AI. It's before all the other things that we know him for. This was definitely a breakout role for him. Speaking about breakout roles, first time watch from Blood Splatter Chatter, the host with the most when it comes to ghosts. It's Verno. What's up, homie?
Break it out. What up? Hot take. Jude Law, more attractive today than in 1997. We were just looking up, me and my wife were debating, better looking today. But what up?
It's a toss-up. Because you know what? Younger Jude Law may have more stamina.
He might. His genetics are the same, but yes. But happy to be here. First time watch. I was telling Steph, when I signed up for this, I was just looking through the list and we've never seen it. For some reason, I thought this was like a 70s, 80s sci-fi classic. I literally had no idea what I was getting into for this one. So happy to be here.
Heck yeah. All right, and rounding out the panel, last but certainly never least, it's our man, Missing Link. What's up, Link? How you doing?
What's up, gentlemen? Happy to be here.
And you've seen this movie before?
Yes, many a time. I was surprised by how many people had said it reminded them of high school and shit because they'd seen it in school, which I had too, but I saw it way back when I was like 10 or 11. I saw it shortly after I saw Armageddon. So, it was those were big sci-fi movies for me as a kid. But yeah, this one always stood out to me. Great movie.
All right. Heck yeah, dude. I'm very excited to have this conversation. When I was putting together the list, when Fable approached me with the idea of doing Sci-Fi Fest, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I got to put I really got to do bangers, right? And so Day the Earth Stood Still, easy. To totally, we're going to start the show with that. We're going to end it with 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's easy. We got to have Close Encounters in there because me personally, I just love that movie. But then I was like, I need one movie that is undersung, that is underappreciated, that maybe some people might have forgotten about, that is powerful and resonant in its time and even today. And the first movie I thought of was Gattaca. And I did not own it in a physical copy. In fact, I haven't even seen this movie in over 20 years, but I just remember it having such an impact on me. So I went on Amazon during the Black Friday season, and I got this 4K Blu-ray combo set incredibly cheaply. So very happy to have it in the collection. Excited to rewatch it. This movie came out in 1997. It was swallowed up by some larger science fiction movies of its time, like, I don't know, The Lost World, the Jurassic Park sequel that came out that year, Independence Day came out that year, Men in Black. These are movies that were contemporary with this one. And like Starship Troopers, which we discussed on Friday night over at One Collection Down, Fable, I see in the chat, throw out a link to that show so everybody can check it out if they haven't after the show. But two movies from 97 that were a bit ahead of their time, and a little bit misunderstood and misrepresented. I didn't watch this movie when it first came out. I watched it probably around 2000, right? My very first job at a comic book store. I got it right after high school. It was like late 99, early 2000, somewhere around there. And one of our customers, Alan, was a huge cinephile. And so was I. In fact, I was a budding cinephile, and he would come into the shop and start talking about movies that I had never heard of, never heard about. And one day he comes and he brings me a giant stack of VHSs from his personal collection to borrow. That was the first time I watched The Guyver. It was the first time I watched The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. It was the first time I ever watched Cool Hand Luke. And one of the movies, first time I watched Little Big Man, I believe, as well, with Dustin Hoffman. Great film. That might have been Chris, actually. But anyway, in the stack that Alan gave me was Gattaca. And I remember when this movie came out, it was kind of marketed heavily, especially towards people my age. In 97, I'm like 16 years age, right? Because it has a lot of young, hot, indie, darling actors. Uma Thurman, right? This is post Pulp Fiction. Ethan Hawke. This is post Before Sunrise, right? Like these are indie actors. Jude Law, not really known at the time. And then you put some veterans in there like Ernest Borgnine and Alan Arkin, right? And
yeah,
I remember this movie having a big impact on me when I first watched it. And honestly, when I picked the movie, I was like, it's about cloning or something, right? It's about clones. And then I'm like, no, it's not about clones at all. It's about eugenics. It's about like genetic perfection. And this was a timely thing of the time. The science was very real at the time and still real today, which makes this not a soft sci-fi film, but much more so of a hard sci-fi film. It was the first film directed by Andrew Niccol, who had massive success being the screenwriter of The Truman Show, which was a big deal. First time I watched this movie, I loved it. It always maintained this place in my head. And I have only seen it twice until this time. And y'all, I think it holds up. I think it's a smart, sleek, and stylish film. I think that's anchored with great performances and rich themes. And I love that neo-noir, retro-future aesthetic and the use of color, the music.
Dark City.
We're going to dive into all of that. Brooks, first time watch on Gattaca. What did you think?
Yeah, like I said, I've never seen this movie. Like I kind of vaguely remember it, but this is one I had to watch twice because I think on the second viewing I enjoyed it much better, which I'm glad I gave it a second viewing because like once I understood what he was doing in the beginning, the whole thing with the drug test, like all the pee bag on his leg and all that stuff. When I first watched it, I was like, what? I didn't get it, but after like I watched it the first time, the second time I'm like I kind of know what's going on with it, and I appreciate it a little more. I think. But yeah, it's a very cerebral movie, I have to say. Like, it has like a lot to it. It's a little slow, but not in a bad way. I think it's a more subdued kind of sci-fi movie. Not action heavy, more yeah. But it's different. And I really liked it though, man. I think it's a classic.
Heck yeah, man. Very happy to hear you say you liked it, and it's a classic. In fact, it did not do very well when it first released. It was made on a $36 million budget, which if you actually put that into today's term, it's way more of a budget than we would give a movie like this today, right? But people used to take chances back in those days because, you had the benefit of cable. You had the benefit of the VHS and the DVD sales, stuff like that, right? You had the benefit of word of mouth. This movie, when it was released, domestically only made $12.5 million, y'all. Like I said, swallowed up by so many other movies, but it has since become a cult classic that even though I would say it's underappreciated by the masses, it does have a cult following that really support and get behind this film. What about you, Cliff? What do you think about Gattaca? What do you think on the rewatch?
So similar to you, I watched it very young. I think when it first came out on DVD, or maybe I had cable at the time. I don't remember. All I remember was I was just like, oh, let me watch this film. And I was just like, oh my God, these two young men are so beautiful. I was like, why is this blonde woman coming between them? And then no, seriously, I was totally into the plot, I swear. And no, I really enjoyed it, and I thought that it actually had a lot. Then I thought it had something to say, and now I've seen it like once or twice in between, but watching it now with more, grown ass eyes, I really appreciate it more. I like all the choices they made, even though some of the choices I felt were like stylistically sterile, but now like my rationale is so much stronger for it,
Yeah, absolutely. I like what you say about the sterileness of the style of the film, because it definitely has that, and it's something very intentional. And one thing this movie is intentional in everything that it's doing, and I think it's so smart and so cerebral, as Brooks was saying. Vern, this was a first time watch for you. Very curious what you think, man. You're watching some great movies with us, man. You're into Fellini now. We're getting you into the Gattaca, man. You're expanding your horizons.
I'm pulling at you. Usually, when I send you my list, you pick the movies that you haven't seen.
Yeah,
and I've kind of been doing that.
You've watched some good ones though, right? Martyrs,
Heat 8.5, and now this 3 in a row that I hadn't seen. I liked it. Like I said, dude, I totally thought it was going to be something completely different. I expected some laser fights, some you know what I mean? I thought it was going to be like a sci-fi action, took place in space kind of thing. So it was definitely like an adjustment, realizing it wasn't that. I liked it. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was stylistically fucking sterile. I love that, Cliff, because it is stylistically sterile. I really like that. I would agree with Brooks that it is a little slow. I watched it twice today. Actually, had 20 minutes left just now. I threw it back on. My wife loved it, by the way. I liked it quite a bit. She liked it a little bit more than me. I think it reminds me of like some Cronenberg stuff with its coldness, like where it's like I had a hard time getting attached to the characters. You know what I mean? There's certain sci-fi futuristic worlds where like part of what they're doing is like in this world, everybody is a little more like the same, less people stand out from the pack. So the actors kind of talk in this certain tone that is like makes them not really stand out. So I think I had a hard time really attaching myself to Ethan Hawke, which I think is like the big thing. If you can't really buy into him, it was harder to like fall in love with the movie.
I think in stages you buy into him, right? Because like we're pulled into this I'll get into that later, but I feel like we're pulled into this adventure / journey / anti-heroic thing going on.
Right.
I almost feel like that's like a social setting within the movie. Kind of like if you've seen Equilibrium, like everyone with Christian Bale and shit, like everyone acted like, less emotions.
Right.
People who would be genetically modified to be perfect will probably tend to be less reactionary, give into less emotion, so that would come off as more cold, so I think that was kind of like
it's even like the world is cold, the aesthetic of the world is cold. It's intentional. I'm don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, for me, and like that's part of the reason why I threw it on again, is because a lot of times I'll enjoy the characters and get more caught up in the emotional aspect of it the second time. The first time you're more focused on the plot, and I did to a degree. I mean, I think it's a cool movie. I've seen universal love for it. It just in the little bit that I've peeked around, like people love this movie. So I think maybe even I went in like my expectations a little high, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was a unsung movie from the 90s. Like it was a great choice for SciFi Fest for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. And one of the reasons I think that's reflective of the sterile nature of the film is that I think that deepens the feeling of paranoia that Ethan Hawke's character of Vincent has, right? He's living a lie. He's got to be so meticulous about an eyelash, a stray hair, a skin flake, right? And that's something that's very interesting to me about this movie. But what I love, and we'll dive into this maybe when we get to the character, but Ethan Hawke's character, he's like, I love that what you mentioned anti-hero, Cliff, because he's an unreliable narrator. Yes. He's not necessarily a good dude. He's lying and cheating and stealing his way into the space program. And there's an element where we can look at the movie and go, he's our hero. He's like who we're supposed to be behind. This is an unfair society. He should have just as much chance as anybody else. But then honestly, this motherfucker's going to have a heart attack on his way to Titan. He's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but we don't know that.
We don't know that, but this dude was on a treadmill for 20 minutes, dude, and he was about to drop.
Right, that's a good point.
But I don't know. I like the whole swimming thing, you know, like he did it, and he was like, you know, and you know, this genetic destiny says he couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, so like. And by the way, he still did the treadmill. It's just that he was falsifying how well he was doing. You know,
right?
Yeah.
Still freaking do it. He was still on there. That was really him. So no. So yes, the unreliable narrator thing, absolutely. The ends justify the means sort of thing. I have lots of complicated feelings about, but ultimately I'm with him on this because I feel like a life that's decided for you is that any kind of life worth living at all. Ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with that's what I love is the nuance about it, right? Like it's not just a stark black and white type situation. There's so many gradients in between. What about you, Link? What do you think about the film? I know you've seen it before. What do you think about it now?
I've always loved it. I still love it. I think it's more poignant and relevant now than it was when it was released. It's a great study of human grit and determination. It's kind of speaking on the whole human race. Essentially, we start off with like rockets and stones and shit, surrounded by a fire. Like, look at us now. I like the theme of where it's like the genetically modified superior people, like, were given purpose and meaning, but the regular folk had to find meaning. And there's something to be said for that, because when Jude Law's character lost his mission statement, he was completely aimless. Like, he didn't have it in him to get up and try again. Like, he lost. He wasn't supposed to lose, A regular person used to dusting yourself off, getting up, trying again. And then there's that whole like AI shit going on right now. So there's parallel themes with that, where it's like technically AI could make something more superior one day, but it's never going to have the heart, soul, the emotion that humans infuse in the works. So yeah, it's a very beautiful film, very cerebral, very sterile, but very great.
I love what you were talking about the genetically modified humans. Basically, like, Jude Law cannot handle the fact that he didn't win, right? And it's revealed that he tried to kill himself. And that's why he's a paraplegic now, right? And now why he's in this situation where he has to sell his identity, right? But then I love how that goes from resentment at first to a true sense of pride and friendship into what Ethan Hawke's character is doing, right? That's so much nuance in just that character alone. And any other writer, any other movie, Jude Law is going to be the Jude Law from the very beginning. He's going to be the resentful guy. He's going to cause conflict and problems. This movie is very interestingly balanced with the way that it takes our characters and their motivations and their reasonings and flip them, subvert them, and then bring them back to the point of the origin. If that
what's that? I love that the last interaction they have, Jude Law and Ethan Hawke, and he says something like, "Thanks for your help, Ethan Hawke," and Jude Law's like, "Thanks for your dream." Like he admired that the fact that Ethan Hawke wasn't supposed to succeed by any statistical means or standards, but he still had that drive in him. He still kept trying. Like, Jude Law didn't have that in him, but he admired the fact that was out there. Yeah. He was trying to nurture that. So
I love it too, because it just shows us when people who are entitled and told that they are winners and they will win, and they don't, they can't deal with it as well as somebody who is told that you won't make it. And then now they have an obstacle to conquer, right? And I think that's getting into the themes, but we've been touching on these performances, on these characters. I think these are some great characters. There's a lot to choose from. So I'm going to be nice tonight. Let y'all go first. Brooks, what's a performance you want to highlight?
Well, he's a pretty small part, but Tony Shalhoub's character, the guy who's setting up the I guess the personality transfer.
Yeah.
'Cause he has one of my favorite lines, which is when he's talking to Ethan Hawke, and Ethan Hawke says, "I'm going to give it 100%," and he says, "That'll get you halfway there."
Yep.
It's kind of like very much like a very biting, like kind of it kind of gives away one of the big themes of the movie. I think this idea that of how certain people are looked down on in the society, and like the setting itself, I think he embodies kind of like the most cynical nature of this kind of world, because the world, it feels like a world that's kind of like a limbo halfway between like heaven and hell, and getting on the ship and going to the stars, that's getting to heaven, and just being stuck there is like hell. But it's a very he's like, he very much embodies the kind of cynical nature of this society. I think there are a few characters in this movie that also kind of do that, but he's like a bureaucrat. He's like, outside of the cop characters, he's probably like one of the most cynical.
He's given into like the greed aspect of, it's all monetary, there's no, it's all like an exchange for him.
Yeah, it's like nobody gives a shit about anything in this society. Like all they care about is like, can I get on a rocket ship and get the fuck out of here?
See, I think that's the social setting I was talking about, because when, clearly we see emotion behind closed doors with Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, Jude Law, Ethan Hawke moments, even Ethan Hawke and his brother, there's emotions, real moments of human emotion, but within the public setting, the social setting, everyone's cold and stiff and sterile, and so I think that was like, I don't know, the director probably could have gotten across more, but I think that was like the socially accepted thing to be,
putting on the airs of perfection.
Yes.
Right. Like my genetics say I'm perfect, so I know I'm perfect and I have to act perfect. Then other people like Uma Thurman, who's like, I'm perfect except for this one defect, and that is like a major detriment to me as a person. Right. And so that's something she feels like she has to overcome. Lots of interesting stuff. I'm glad you mentioned that character, Brooks, because you're watching this movie, you're like, fuck, monks in this movie.
Yeah.
Then another scene, you're
like, out there.
Just like in Starship Troopers, Hank from Breaking Bad shows up randomly in this fucking movie too, man.
Hey, Zack Schrader.
Yep, exactly. I love it, dude. I was like, holy crap, man. 97 was the year for this dude to be in bit parts and sci-fi films, apparently.
He was everywhere.
What about you, Cliff? What's the performance you want to highlight?
I'm going with Jude Law. I mean, we got he balances Ethan Hawke so well, he's got the charisma, he's got the resentfulness. They have such great chemistry when they're on screen together. But you believe and you buy in to the camaraderie that we come to, at the end. And he's such a tragic character too. Like I was just so upset with his last scene all over again. I was like, "You're beautiful. Does your dick still work? I'll save you." And it was just like, but no, seriously, he delivered a phenomenal performance. He's continued to deliver phenomenal performances, but this one at such a young age, like really showing people he had all the chops, Yeah. I'm not going to say he carried the film, but I am going to say he's a big reason why this film works.
Stood out.
I would say he is the best performance in the film, like 100%. Like he is.
Great taste.
Like he could have been nominated for an Academy Award for this, right? For Best Supporting Actor. Like he blew so many people away. The problem is then they didn't know what to do with Jude Law for a while, and they put him in shit like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow or whatever the hell that movie's called. But man, Jude Law is amazing.
I dig Sky Captain though. I dig it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a terrible movie.
Crew's Choice is coming up, Link. So if you want to make me watch it again, you got some thinking to do. What about you, Verno? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I am gonna highlight a man that keeps popping up on Pop Culture Philosophers, Mr. Xander Berkeley, who plays the Doctor, just because this dude
motherfucker
is everywhere.
Dude. Nobody's gonna fucking pick this guy.
He's the boyfriend, or he's the cheating husband in Candyman. He is the person that is having sex with Al Pacino's wife in Heat.
Yep.
And this is his one likable role. I was going
to say this is the one movie we've watched with him in it where he's not a douchebag.
Right. I liked him, and then plus I did like the little bit where it turns out like he's known the whole time. And because half the time, or I've seen him, I'm like, why has this guy got a bald spot? If this guy is genetically perfect, why is he balding? But that's his little defect, like Uma Thurman, that gives him a little bit more humanity which kind of gives him a reason to protect him and whatnot. But yeah, I just wanted to shout him out because it's like, bro, when I saw him like again, I'm like, Robbie, are you purposely picking out Xander Berkeley movies?
Dude, I thought the same thing. I was like, dude, we just did Candyman. Before that, we did Terminator. He's in Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because he's John Connor's
he's
foster
adopted
dad.
Yeah.
And like, with this dude just keeps, fuck, man. Just I'm sure he's going to be in something else soon, man. And it's not intended. But you know what? Why don't we have a Xander Berkeley fest one? I'm glad you mentioned that. That was my backup in case everybody took all the really good ones.
Dude, shut up. He's the grandpa. He's the old man in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He's the old man in Walking Dead season 2.
Yes.
Shut up.
What,
wow.
What old man?
He is what's his name's daughter dude.
He's the old man.
You're not talking about Herschel.
Yeah,
he's fucking Herschel. Yes.
No, he's not. Herschel's a completely different dude.
Yeah, that's
I click on him.
That's a different actor.
I click on him and there's a picture of him, and then Walking Dead is in. All right, you can go about your business. I'm going to double check this.
All right, Link, what about you? What's the performance you want to highlight? Herschel from The Walking Dead?
Yeah, I'm a runner up, but I'm going to go with Ethan Hawke's brother. I thought he was very compelling. At certain points, I almost feel like he knew before it was confirmed that it was Ethan Hawke. He kind of had a hunch, and he's kind of like trying to throw them off the case because he's always respected his brother ever since that swim. And then even when he found out, it was just like he just wanted to talk to him. He didn't want to bring him in or anything. He always respected his brother since the swim. And I thought that was a very human thing to do in a very sterile world.
Yeah, I like his performance. That performance is by Lauren Dean, who's in a ton of stuff at this time. He's in like Apollo 13, Ad Astra. He's in Space Cowboys, which I really like. Space Cowboys, actually. Right, that's the one with like Clint Eastwood and James Garner and Donald Sutherland. Yeah, dude. And they go to the moon. And, oh, dude, that movie's actually good. I like that movie. But he's good in this film. And what's interesting is Brooks, for instance, when you rewatched it the second time, his performance is different, right? Like when he finds out that the DNA belongs to that dude and the way he reacts, you don't get it at first.
Yeah.
And then when you realize what's going on. So that's really cool. All right. Y'all actually left me my favorite. Big shout out to Uma Thurman, by the way. She's just got a great quality in this movie. Ernest Borgnine in this movie is cool, but Alan Arkin as Detective Hugo.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Love him. Love Alan Arkin. He's in so many great films, so many classics, but I always like to think of him as the guy from Argo who coined the term Argo fuck yourself. Exactly. But I love Alan Arkin. I love him in this film, especially because you were talking about the brother. The brother is the genetically superior one, right? But he's the one who's actually a good detective. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I really, really like him. And Alan Arkin is just great in everything that he's in. All right, let's dive into the style and structure. Verno, did you find out that you were wrong?
I found out I was wrong. Whoever put that picture of Herschel next to him, not fucking cool, bro. Not cool.
All right. Let's talk about style and structure. Style-wise, I love it. I think it's got this cool, like I said before, neo-noir, retro future look, the use of color. There's a lot of heavy like cell shading going on here where scenes are all based in like a sepia yellow tone or a green tone or a blue tone. Yellow is kind of like the flashbacks representing who Vincent actually is in his past. Blue representing this society that has to be sterile and clean. Like when he's in, oh my God, has Ethan Hawke ever looked as fucking hot when he's like scrubbing every fucking thing off of him in that blue light, dude? I bet that dude didn't eat nothing for like 3 days and didn't drink water for like 24 hours. Get ready.
That's how he bagged Uma Thurman, man.
I know, right? Yeah.
We all know how that turned out, but they had a good ride.
Yes, they did. And then they have green that's utilized as well when you get more to the honest truth of the matter, like more of his interactions with Uma Thurman and then other things. So I love the use of color. It does have a slow pace to it, but I think it's a slow, deliberate pace and a slow, deliberate sense of melancholy. So I do think it's slow, but I don't think it's too slow. It feels to me very incredibly measured and deliberate. I think it's a clever story. that focuses on character rather than science fiction spectacle. Maybe that's why it didn't work so well back then, but it's why it holds up so much to me today. What do you think about the style and structure, Brooks?
Well, like this movie felt very much like more like an early 2000s sci-fi movie to me than a late 90s one, which it probably kind of set that tone in a lot of ways. That's how movies tend to work. People see movies and they kind of use that in their own movies. But the setting is it's sterile, but it feels dirty at the same time. It's just weird. It feels
like
kind
Dark
of like
City.
gritty. Yeah, it feels like
I have a comment on that. I'm sorry.
Oh well, shoot.
Sterile but clean. It feels sterile but dirty.
You
said
I'm
yes.
gonna loop around to that when I talk, but sterile but still feels dirty.
Yeah, it's like and I think that's kind of like a commentary on this world, because it feels like Earth is like Earth, even though it has all this you have all this futuristic technology kind of and stuff. It's still everybody wants to get away from this place. It feels like a world in decline, but at the same time, it's got that kind of sterile thing to it. And because I always have to compare a movie to another thing that reminds me of this one kind of reminded me of a story in the Battle of Angel Alita manga, where there's this kid named Hugo who wants to get to the floating city of Teferis by buying his way through crime on the surface, but he finds out in the end that you can't buy your way into heaven. And it feels like that's kind of what this movie is like. But at the same time, it's like Jude Law's character is like a character. He's someone who's destined for heaven but doesn't want it anymore. It could be like I interpreted his thing as not that he committed suicide, like he was going to commit suicide because he wanted out. I feel like he just didn't want to go to space because the idea of sending people into space, it's like where are they going and what is he going to do when he gets to this moon?
Right.
And why is why is physical prowess so important to being able to do it? I kind of get the feeling I'm a little
There's different levels of gravity and stuff like that, on different planets.
Yeah,
I just think it was interesting that they never told us what they were doing. It was just really mysterious what was going on in space.
My cynical heart tends to think that they're sending them to a workers' colony, basically, and that's why they have to be strong because they're basically going to serve as drones for some some capitalist overlord on the moon of Titan or some shit. But I mean that's just my interpretation.
Maybe if Jude Law was
like twist I would use.
Otherwise, why did he work so hard for that? I'm not going to work hard to achieve some other. I already work hard to achieve capitalist dreams for people. It's terrible.
That's the thing. Nobody knows. They just think you get on the rocket and you go to a new place. It's got to be better than this place, right?
Right.
It's kind of like it's kind of like capitalism now. You think you get all the money and everything will be better, but it never does. Because rich people are still just as fucking miserable as we are, just for different reasons.
It was more just kind of just the focus that this man had a dream and executed a plan and achieved it. That's why we don't really get too much detail and backstory into all that space travel stuff.
And it's not so much that he's trying to escape, right? It's more about his desire to explore and do something significant, right? It's people aren't trying to escape the Earth in this movie, but
I think they are. They even say it at one point, whatever we can do to get off this rock. Whatever
okay,
we can
you're
do.
right. Okay, you're probably right about that. All right, good
I
point.
feel like Jude Law's character, maybe somehow he knows this, he knows that going into space isn't the great thing that it's cracked up to be, and that's why he ran away from it instead of
if they kept him on something like the ISS, technically he I feel like his body would work better in zero gravity conditions.
Well, yeah, dude said it should be you, because in space, your legs don't matter.
Right, because you don't need your legs.
Yeah, good point. Cliff, what about you? What do you think about the style and structure?
All right, so I want to address clean and dirty, right? I take it as sterile and controlled, right? And that dirty feeling, I take it as if the visuals are judging you, as if society is this claustrophobic feeling where you're constantly being judged. So that's why when Brooke said that, I was like, I had a similar feeling, except for the dirty part was like judgment. Like when you asked the dude to like spit down your throat, like it was like that kind of feeling, you know, except that I knew it was like this very did you notice how incredibly still the camera shots are? You know, this film is so wildly intentional. Like, you know, everything is clean, everything is symmetrical, every environment looks perfect, right? But like oppressively so, because it never looks like the beach is beautiful, right? But like you don't see, everything looks just very matter of fact, toned down.
Almost like even the buildings, interiors, everything seemed very box shaped and rigid.
Yeah, exactly. It's all cylinders and squares and
smooth, right?
Yeah.
No texture.
Dichotomy. Yep.
Yeah, there's no texture. It's so basic. There's not a lot of character, except that it's just one giant oppressive character. So that's what I have to say about style and structure. I mean, like the movie exudes confidence, right? Like, and I guess that also comes from the fact that everything's so tight, you know? And then we have the characters to sell it. But
yeah,
my point.
Absolutely. That retro future look, right? Like it makes it timeless because it is set in the not so distant future. But if you notice, all the cars are old cars; they're just electric. It gives me that Batman animated series kind of vibe.
Yeah, you
like
can't really place
future,
what year it is.
In the
Great
back in the
call.
day.
I think that's more indicative of an honest future, to be honest. Because if we look back on it, like if you're going like 2000s, early 2000s compared to shit now, it's like as technology goes on, it gets simpler, and the look is everything is more simplified. So I think it's indicative of a more honest future. Like it's old. It's kind of like Cowboy Bebop, like retro but futuristic.
Yeah.
It's like the cars are electric. Like you can hear the whirring of the cars sound like they're electric cars, but they still have tires.
Yeah.
At first I thought, are those hover cars? But no, they're just electric cars with regular.
Yeah, it just gives it that like 40s noir aesthetic.
Yeah, I
right.
love it.
Especially with its use of shadow too. I didn't even mention that. What about you though, Verno? What do you think about the style and structure of the film?
First, I was gonna say BioShock. For those, Link, I know you get that reference. That's what it reminded me of.
Hell yeah.
I never heard the term retro futuristic, but if I had heard it, that's exactly what I would have said. And I love that. The other thing is like just we were talking like the order of it. There's too much structure. Like I think I heard it. My brother collects coins, my brother-in-law. And like if you have a more oppressive government, a more like big brothery, like Chinese money, it's symmetrical. It's always symmetrical. And they have that very boxed in, orderly feel. And that's what this felt. This felt like the clean dirty it's clean because of the order. But if you go to like communist Russia, it's clean as shit, but it's terrible. You know what I mean? You're just everyone's depressed and walking around. So you know what I mean? That's why like clean and dirty. That's a great way to say it. But story-wise, there was one thing I wanted to point out that bugged me is that, and maybe you guys touched on it, because we don't know what's going on in space. I don't care if he goes to space. His whole goal of the movie, our main guy, his goal is to get to space. And there's another movie, I can't remember, but I remember saying like on here that like I should want what he wants, and I don't care if he goes to space. So that to me, and maybe it's just me not like, I think Ethan Hawke was a big issue for me in this movie, not connecting to his character. When the boss guy gets murdered and his reaction to it is like, oh well, it's like damn. And even Uma Thurman's like, well, fuck him. I was like, oh my god, everybody. I don't like anybody in this movie.
There's a theory in the movie where Ethan Hawke is actually the killer.
Really?
And he sets up his boss, right? Because the boss mentions, do a DNA test on me. I don't have a violent bone in my body. The only person really
Patrick
shown
Bateman
to be violent in this movie is Ethan Hawke.
That's crazy.
When he beat that cop's ass,
yeah,
outside the club, yeah.
Do you think that old guy like beat the fuck out of this dude with the fucking keyboard?
Good point.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Point.
Yeah, his head was caved in and shit. Like that's.
And then when Ethan Hawke says that, when Vincent says it, like he was found with his head bashed in, he kind of like smiles a little bit. Like there's an element that like like I said, I think he's an unreliable narrator. I think this is a true film noir from like that kind of style, right? Where like this guy is a douchebag and we have bought into it almost in a way.
I like it because I mean it makes me feel justified in my
He's
feelings
succeeding
toward young
within
Ethan.
the standards the world has placed upon him. You know, I don't know if he's necessarily a douchebag because he's gonna be at the bottom of the rut if he doesn't do that shit just because of his genetic profile. You know,
Fair
people aren't
enough.
gonna give him. You know,
Well,
It's a tough. I mean,
well, here's the thing: 2 wrongs don't make a right.
right? I mean, do you support terrorism? You know what I mean? Like it goes down to that argument. It's the whole thing. Like how far is too
he could
far
just be a
when you-
janitor, you know, and even though he's capable of more and just live a very content.
Well,
happy
what's crazy
life
is that this
being-
conversation exists
Here,
because
where our
of,
level is.
what I love is that this conversation exists because a lesser movie, he would have just been trying to spark a revolution against this society or some bullshit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Link, I love that you bring up that he was a janitor because my first thought was, as soon as the movie starts, he's a janitor and he's looking around at all these people above him, and I'm like, Good Will Hunting. What year did Good Will Hunting come out? 1997.
And they're doing the
okay.
she's all that trope where you know you put his hair down and put some glasses on him.
Oh yeah, he goes a whole different. Yeah,
yeah, that's a little bit silly too.
just slick it back, bro. You know,
On the rewatch, that's what I found interesting is to find out at what point the brother recognized who he was.
Yeah,
And it was pretty early on in the movie. There's quite a bit of investigation shit going on where he is kind of covering up for him, or at least hiding the fact.
Oh,
that
he's
he knows
definitely covering up for him. He's
Right.
Yeah, because it's Alan Arkin who's like keeps pushing, right?
yeah, he's trying to keep steering the case elsewhere, but it's Alan Arkin, Little Miss. I love that. That's like one of my favorite roles for him. You know, he's the one who's like, it's like he's almost like it's weird that ASAC Schrader's in this movie because he was like he was spot on all throughout Breaking Bad, just shit luck. No one ever believed him. And that was Alan Arkin's character in this movie. Like he was always making the right fucking calls, you know, just the brother was deterring him off.
Yeah.
Dude, tell me what you guys think of this, because I said at one point to my wife towards the end of the movie, I'm like, so who do you think the killer is? And she's like, I don't care. It's like, yeah, no, I know you're not really supposed to, but it would have been cool if you did. Like, to me, that was the thing that they missed. Like, there was a murder mystery going on in this movie. Throw a couple red herrings my way. You know what I mean?
But that's just like
what's
what's crazy is that's just a set dressing.
No,
right?
I get it.
And
I get it.
what,
I know.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and that's so interesting because because there is a way you could look at this movie and be like, oh, they got the wrong killer. The killer is actually the guy
now
we're supposed to be going along with.
I love that.
I think it's speaking of like the world that's established. Like it's trying to show that in this perfectly established world that people still have grievances. Like people are still mentally ill, you know, just because they're genetically modified to be superior. They're not in a lot of ways. There's a lot of flaws in the system.
There's another interpretation where the guy who's the old guy who they accuse of being the murderer, that he knows Ethan Hawke did it and sets himself up to be the murderer so that this dude can hit the launch window.
So
because it's every 70 years we have this opportunity to send people to Titan.
I'm totally headcanoning that. Like Ethan Hawke murdered that dude. That makes a shitload of sense.
I mean, I'm just like, I think it works. I think it does, but I think it also shows us some of the nuance, man. There's so much to unpack with this movie. I knew we'd have a great conversation.
Here's the last thing I want to say is about the brother character. Me and my wife like both turned and laughed. Like, why isn't it when they're at the beginning? First of all, Ethan Hawke is doing a narration, and I'm like, oh, 90s narration. I love that shit. I'm always into that. And then it goes away once Ethan Hawke enters the movie as in the character that he's playing. But at one point, like they're older teenagers when they do that final swim, and I'm like, why the fuck isn't Ethan Hawke just playing himself at this point in the movie? Like that's weird. But then you find out, oh, that's why. It's because they don't want the audience to recognize the brother when we see him later as the brother.
Yeah.
So that made sense in that. But then my other point was, I almost wish they would have done away with this older detective, which I know is good. He's solid. You guys have been talking about the guy. You know his name. I don't. But if they'd done away with him and made the brother character a more significant role in his investigation, then the twist would have hit harder for me when you were like, oh, shit, that's his brother. Because the first time that I watched it, I was like, oh, shit, that slick-haired guy that I don't really remember from this movie that I just watched was the brother. And that those to me are my little nitpicks with the story. But all of them are up debatable.
But even if you would have found out that was his brother, the revelation would have played out the same because the brother was never trying to bring him down. Like that, I think you're approaching it from the like, oh,
no, I'm saying the twist where you find out, where the audience finds out, oh shit, that's been his brother the whole time. I was like,
like
whatever,
the
because that
twist.
character wasn't cool.
One of my nitpicks is I do think that's a little bit contrived, a little bit convenient. And then what makes it even fucking worse is that then as grown-ass men, they go, all right, bro, let's go fucking swim again.
Let's be real, guys. You guys are acting like dudes don't have testosterone and don't do stupid shit like that. Like trying to who's got the bigger dick, you know? Like
it just cracks me up that we do the swimming fucking scene again.
Dick party in a long time. You know, y'all are letting me down out there. Letting me down.
One thing though I do like is the movie does a great job, I think, of building up tension where it feels like Ethan Hawke's about to get caught at any fucking moment. And I kind of feel that while I'm watching the movie. What about you,
got me
Link?
stressed out.
Style and structure.
Style and structure. Style, wonderful. It reminds me of stuff like Dark City, with the clean, structured but sterile but dirty look. The cerebral tones remind me of X-Men 1 in particular. I think that was it had a lot of cerebral tones. Yeah, I think it works, man. Like I think it gets in and tells its tale. It's a focus on human determination and grit, or an exploration of it, and it's aged quite well. I think it ages. It's like wine, it gets better with age.
Just like Jude Law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me throw in one thing that is totally not worth throwing in. But for whatever reason, I kept thinking of the movie The Machinist while I was watching this.
Yeah.
And I think it was just because of like the color. Like, not that they were the same color.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just, you know what I mean? Like, it kept popping in my head over and over.
I like The Machinist. And then speaking of Christian Bale movies, Link mentioned Equilibrium earlier. It was either going to be this one or Equilibrium tonight. I was like, and because Equilibrium is another one that I think not a lot of people talk about.
Yes,
it's a badass movie, dude. So maybe next year for SciFi Fest, we'll be doing Equilibrium.
Write it down.
So let's talk about the music. The music is composed and conducted by Michael Nyman. Michael Nyman has done a few film scores, including Gattaca. Also, he did The End of the Affair, and he did Ravenous along with Damon Albarn, who is one of my favorite musicians. He is the front man of the Gorillaz and Blur. But he doesn't do. Michael Nyman hasn't done a lot of film scores because this dude is a legit classical music composer. Dude, look him up. He's done so much work that's highly respected. He's kind of a big deal, and I think the music in this movie is stunning. I think it's got the sweeping, gliding strings that portray an atmosphere of melancholy as well as ambition, right? That slow, deliberate pace, that melancholical feel, and that ambition of the human spirit all is there in the music of this film. I adore it. I love it. It's one of the greatest sci-fi film scores of the 90s, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like it needs to John Williams it up. It maintains its subtlety and its extravagance at the same time while providing that tone, mood, and atmosphere that only Michael Nyman could produce for this. And it also still anchors it in a grounded reality and film noir aesthetic. Brooks, what do you think about the music in the film?
I like this pretty good. A lot of strings, like you're saying. It's very subdued. Like, it doesn't, like, it flows well with the movie, but it has its pops and its dramatic moments too. Not a very sci-fi soundtrack, very much more of a kind of drama soundtrack, which I think is good because, this movie is more of a drama movie than it is a sci-fi. To me, it feels more like a drama with sci-fi elements than like a pure sci-fi movie. And I think the soundtrack kind of like leans that way.
Hell yeah. What about you, Cliff? What do you think?
I think the movie, I think the score was like the heartbeat of the film. Does that make sense? Because it was brilliant and subtle at the same time. And it never, unlike a lot of movies that they use the music and the sound to like tell you how to feel, right?
Evoke emotion, some shit.
Right. Right. Like it's like, oh, this music makes me feel like this is supposed to be important. Oh, this music is building up, intense tension. The the sounds, the music, it just lets the characters perform and do their work, you know, and it just carries like and I specifically, I'm going to say this about the swim scene, right? Because it really doesn't take you away from it, you know, and it somehow carries you into the moment like you're holding your breath too. It's just so beautifully done. You know, it just, it's everything you said, because it hit. If you could watch this movie without the soundtrack and it's still the movie, but like it doesn't hit without all of those musical cues. It's just, the man's brilliant. And I just looked him up and I saw all sorts of stuff that he's worked on. I'm going to have to check out.
Dude, he's like a modern day Mozart or Bach or Beethoven or some shit, dude. He's like a legit composer, not just somebody who does fucking films.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's doing something.
Absolutely. And by the way, film composers are like, to me, like the best musicians of the modern day. So there you go.
Well, there's so much that they have to do.
Yeah. You know? And the best film composers are like people that are like John Carpenter. You know, it'd be like people like that are like, fuck, dude. Like, just what do. I don't fucking know.
What's the dude's name? He created, he's behind a lot of shit now, but he like created the Mandalorian theme. But he's like, I wish I fucking didn't smoke so much weed, but go look him up. He's got like you'd be like, oh shit, he's behind this. Like, I think he might have even been behind the Sinners composition, music.
Ludwig Göransson.
Yes.
Oscar and Grammy winning Swedish composer.
Yeah, he's pretty dope. He's like one of the newer dudes.
He's got a cool look. He's young. He's hip. He's cool.
He's hip. Yeah, he's like a hippie.
Cool.
He's young. Yeah. He's hip. He's fresh. He's hot.
He's fresh. We got to bring fresh back.
You know what he looks like? He looks both clean and dirty. This fucking guy.
Like this movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of clean and dirty, Verna, what do you think about the music in the film?
I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was kind of like standard affair, you know what I mean? Because like what you said, Brooks, like it wasn't sci-fi. It wasn't telling you you're in a sci-fi movie, but it was very elegant.
It ain't got a theremin in it, you know, like Day the Earth does.
Right. Remember, it was somebody out there. You got a clip. You got to give a compilation of all the times we've tried to beep boop beep boop beep boop. But
wait till next week when we do Close Encounters. How many times are we going to be like? Bah, 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 bah.
But it wasn't a. I don't know the word, because I was about to say it doesn't stand out, but it does stand out. But it's not overly like innovative or different. It's kind of like, it sounds like a movie score, just a really well done movie score. Nothing crazy innovative. Yeah, it was good. It was beautiful.
It's got. I do think it has some sci-fi elements. Like it has a sense of wonder about it,
and mystery too.
But mystery as well. But like I said, that film noir kind of like. It reminds me very much of John Ottman's score on Usual Suspects, if that makes sense. Like, and I think Usual Suspects is one of the greatest scores ever. And John Ottman also scored the first X-Men film, which is fucking one of the best scored comic book movies of the post 2000 era, right? Like, absolutely brilliant stuff.
Maybe someone's got to cover the first X-Men. It doesn't get enough credit, even though it's not perfect, but it's like one of the only comic book movies not based on like pre-existing. Like it took its influences, but you can't pinpoint like a really one arc and like that's.
Well, stay tuned because I'm like 80% convinced right now that we end Action Fest this year with the X-Men franchise.
Ooh, don't! Oh my god!
That doesn't count Wolverine movies though. It would just be X-Men movies. But
By the way, Link, I did cover it. It's on the
all the way through Dark Phoenix.
Look it up. We covered it.
Which one?
X-Men one. We did like 4 X-Men movies, me and my brother.
Oh,
long time ago.
Get back to comics, bro. You got to get back to comics. I'm always so shocked by like what Bruno's read and shit. I'm like, oh my god, he's read this.
So, what do you think about the music, Steph?
I know it's a character of the film. Like it does its job, does it well. It's not in your face, like I was saying. I think a lot of like the human emotion moments or the moments I attribute to like human emotion is because of the music, and it's very subtle, very nuanced. It's layered like this film.
Yeah, absolutely. Like an onion.
Yes. I like that.
Like the levels of hell in Dante's Inferno. This movie is layered.
9 levels. Where is it?
Was it 9 or was it 7?
I think it's 7. So I
Was
think
it
it's 7.
Something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. The middle has, they're eating like Judas over and over again and Brutus and all that shit. I remember that. One of the levels is frozen. That's why it was clever when Alan Moore made Hell Frozen in Spawn back in like issue number fucking 9 or whatever the hell it was.
Mhm.
Man, those issues of Spawn that were written by like Alan Moore and Frank Miller and Neil Gaiman, those are pretty fucking bad.
Man, bro, one of my favorite issues ever, the Wildcats crossover with Alan Moore and fucking yeah, bro, love that.
All right, we're not here to talk about Spawn though.
But I know, but Gaiman is the one who gave us Cold Hell with the Sandman, where everyone carries their own fire.
Yeah, well, like I said, Dante wrote that too, back way before Neil.
Did I miss that in Dante's Inferno?
That's one of the levels where it's like all cold in hell. That's where the term freezes over, when hell freezes over and all that shit. And whatever.
Well, how did I miss that? I guess I got too focused on the people in purgatory who could see the light of heaven but not touch it. All right.
Well, that's Dante's Purgatorio.
Yeah.
Which is different than Inferno. And then we got Paradiso. All right, are we now? What are we covering? Are we covering
segue?
Gattaca, Spawn, or Dante's Inferno?
Apparently, I don't know what I read when I was younger, so I'm gonna have to go read the whole thing. Thank you.
All right, coming soon, a deep dive into Dante's Divine Comedy from every member here on the panel. So, Verno, go ahead and start reading.
Sure.
We'll pick them up. We're gonna do all 3.
Get the audio book.
Let's talk. We're here at we here at Pop Culture Philosophers. We like to dive a little bit deeper, whether it's Spawn, whether it's Dante, as in Dante's Inferno, Purgatorio, or Paradiso. We like to dive a little bit deep. This movie's got a lot of themes, very rich, very poignant of its time, and even today. Brooks, what's this movie speaking to you?
Well, I think a big theme of this movie is like this promise of paradise. This idea that if you work hard enough, that you can move up beyond your station. But at the same time, there's like a hopelessness as well. There's like a force drawing people down, the whole idea of genetic inferiority, of the slightest flaw, lessening people, of second best not being enough. It feels kind of like, to me, it feels a bit like a star-crossed lovers story too, between Ethan Hawke's and Jude Law's character. Because you got the one guy who's striving for the heavens, he wants to get on the ship, he wants to go beyond, and then you have the other guy who just wants to sink into despair and die, and I love how in the end, as it's showing him burn, you see the metal and you see it has 2 guys swimming on it, so it kind of ties back into the brothers' relationship too, this idea that he's made more of a bond and grown more attached to this person that he never knew than he ever did with his own brother. So yeah, this movie's got a lot of themes though. So that's just one of many.
Hell yeah. One of many, profoundly spoken by Brooks. What about you, Cliff? What's this movie speaking to you?
I don't know. That unrequited sexual love affair between Jude Law and Ethan Hawke is a driving force when I watch this show. But no, this movie, I want you to know, this movie left me deep in thought, to the point where I had to open up my phone and play Marvel Snap till I passed out because I was just thinking about it too much.
Get out of that existential crisis shit. Yeah, this is a deep movie.
Because I actually thought about this too much. Idiocracy. It parallels this movie in my mind.
It's a very poignant movie.
Idiocracy predicted how we are societally too well. I mean, the fucking Crocs alone. Thank you. But then this movie is telling us where we're going, beneath the surface of that. And I don't know, it's almost bone chilling when I gave it that much thought.
Yeah.
Thank God for phones to deaden our brain cells, because I don't know.
Doom scroll away, bro. Yeah, hell yeah.
No. I don't doom scroll. I do not doom scroll. My Instagram is 95% hot men and comic books, and then 5% some activism from people who I really love, because that's gonna work its way in there naturally. But mostly it is for my entertainment. Every time I open the little search feature, there are just so many shirtless men just waiting to tell me something about their weight loss journey or some shit. But it's waiting. It's there.
Program the algorithm.
And that's one thing that neither of these movies predicted, because honestly, if you're gonna be miserable at home, like a lot of us are, you gotta have something to keep your mind off of how awful and crazy everything is.
That's right.
Yeah. Or some review, it's kind of a distraction, And,
My social media algorithm is crockpot recipes and ass.
Oh my god!
booty, rocking.
Oh, in horror movies.
I got a splash of horror movies. Oh my god, it's so funny. This dude I went to high school with is named Seth. One of my good friends who lives in Florida, who's like 10 years younger than me, is named Seth. Dude who I went to high school with did music. Yeah, high school Seth did music on a horror movie that Florida Seth loves, and I was like, oh my god, so
quantum entanglement.
It is. High school Seth is fine as fuck, is all I'm gonna say. Because like my class, most of us age well, but he looks good. But I'm off the rails.
I love that every time Cliff is here reviewing a movie, we learn a lot about you, my friend. A lot. The data-driven hiring, the quiet institutional discrimination that half of society doesn't want to acknowledge exists. Your worth being decided by metrics over humanity, right? That is a big one, because every time, I work in a nonprofit. So like every time we have a review and I lose point. I mean, I never do terribly, but I lose points because, I'm not the greatest at paperwork and things like that. Right. And, my coworker, she snapped me out of it last time, because I was like, oh, I really wish that I had scored exceeds. And she goes, you do exceed. Look at all the stuff that you do around here. Or look at all the things that we've accomplished, that our clients have accomplished, because you've been here to be instrumental in all that. She's like, so don't let some stupid piece of paper or someone else's freaking judgment.
Because you're not being congratulated on the PR. That's a very valid point. Like, people quickly not talk down on themselves, but overlook the value they bring to stuff because they're not receiving a piece of paper, certain recognition in certain ways. It's like, fuck all that.
Plus, if you're not unique the intangibles, which ties to the movie really well, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to undercut what you're saying, Cliff, but maybe if you spent less time looking at washboard abs on Instagram while you were working, maybe you would have hit exceed.
No one said I look at that while I'm working. I'm working when I'm working.
Yeah, but what are you thinking about, Cliff? What's you fucking thinking about, man?
Unfortunately, actually, you don't even want to know what I'm thinking. The things I have to think about while I'm at work are extremely unpleasant.
Autopilot.
Yeah. So,
anyway, nicely put, Cliff. And I like the personal spin on it, man. I really do. Verno, what's this movie speaking to you?
It is a profound statement. No, I think it's a lot about the line that I think of, a couple lines that I think of is early on in the movie when little Ethan scrapes his knee and his mom's like, oh, like basically what you're told about you is kind of going to go a long way in what you actually can achieve, or like where you put, you know what I mean? What people tell you are is what you're going to think that you are, and then it's going to be what you are. There's a good chance of that. The other interesting part along those lines, somebody touched on it earlier, Link, I think you did, but like when Jude Law is told you are the best, you're fucking as good as you can get, and then he gets second place, like it destroys his life, and he didn't have to strive to get where he was. And when you're striving and you're failing, it gives you what you need to succeed once you fail at the highest level, which is what he did. But the other thing that I think about also along these lines is, would Ethan Hawke have achieved as much as he did had his brother not been so physically superior? Because him doing that swimming taught him his limits and how to push his limits. So if his brother wasn't pushing his limits, he would have never got there.
Yeah, he would develop resiliency,
which is part of the whole, like, that's how humanity works. We aren't all the fucking same. So we are constantly, there's always someone better than you at everything. So you always have something to strive for. And in a world like that where it's flatlined, then you lose that. And that's honestly, I know we were talking about capitalism earlier, but it's like it could easily be read as a statement on communism and more socialist societies where there is a level,
a baseline.
You know what I mean? Like so there's that too. I think it's more of a comment on
it.
Ordered societies and like oppressive governments in that way that are like Big Brother type of thing than capitalism.
It's crazy how much it ties into Starship Troopers. We're like in Starship Troopers, they take their tests and they're all told, you're going to go into this department, you're going to go into this department, you're going to go do this. And we were all in high school in the United States of America, right? We all had to take that test where they determine what our career should be. Do you remember that shit, you know, and like how much pressure they put on you, like what's your major going to be in college and
what
this and that, like blah, blah, blah. And like, you feel like all this kind of shit thrown together, man. And I love what you're saying because Jude Law is told this is who you are and what you will achieve. When he doesn't do it, his world crashes. Ethan Hawke's told this is who you are and what you won't achieve. And just like John Locke in Lost, he says, don't tell me what I can't.
Keeps overcoming the odds.
Yeah. It gives him something to
John
fight.
Locke, baby.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's when you fucking go the hardest. You know?
I got my girl watching Lost with me for her first time. We just finished season 1, dude. She doesn't have no idea what's in that fucking hatch right now, dude. Good. It's fucking. I'm just trying. I'm sitting there. She keeps asking questions. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if Boone's really dead.
That's a show you gotta figure out. Yeah, you just gotta let it unfold, man.
She goes, why did they kill Boone? He was the sexiest dude on the show. And I was like, I know, but Saeed's still there.
Boone? Yeah, I was gonna say I like Saeed, bro. They fucked him over character-wise towards the end. But
didn't Boone go on to do other things with his career anyway?
Yeah, he's in the Vampire.
Not better than Lost.
Shit,
not
right?
better than Lost.
But dude, Saeed might be the sexiest on Lost.
But he's giving me sexy vibes wherever we go, and that's what's important.
I mean, yeah, he's got those eyes.
He's got them heavy eyebrows, though, bro. I don't like those heavy eyebrows, man. They just I don't
know. That's part of his package, though.
He makes me think of what's that fucking movie with the no wire hangers ever? Makes me think of Faye Dunaway in that movie or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just saying, dude. But his eyes are like amberescent, like piercing. Like, how is that not scoring points?
Yeah, it's those eyebrows. It's those eyebrows. All right. Link, what do you think? What's this movie speaking to you? We get so fucking tangential here. I love it.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna stick with the ambition and determination, grit of the human race, this human spirit. Like, you know, not to veer off into too much personal things, but I was born with like a heart murmur and asthma, and I turned out to be quite the athlete. I'm not so much, you know, these days in my middle ages as a 37-year-old man, but I exceeded expectations, you know, that I did, you know, so I felt where Ethan Hawke's character was coming from. I'm always continuing to exceed expectations. So I think it's like a study of like human ambition, the grit, like, you know, it's crazy what we started off as a race and where we are now, you know, in the last fucking 60 years, we've made more technological leaps than we've had since we've been around, like, you know, and it's probably going to get even crazier. Like, that's a wild thing to think about, but that's because of our ambition, our grit, our determination to always keep trying, get up, dust yourself off. So I think that's a big theme of this movie.
Yeah, it really is. And I love what you mentioned about the exponential nature of evolution, right? Especially technological evolution. Got to give a major shout out to Leandro. Hi from Brazil. I discovered the channel recently through the Ford Fairlane video. Well, thank you. That's one of our better performing videos, actually. A lot of people watching our thoughts on the adventures of Ford Fairlane, which was real fun to review. I remember Brooks not liking that movie.
Yeah. Seems like all the movies I hate end up being like the most popular.
Yeah, but it brought Leandro on here. Our most popular is Cyborg, by the way. Very pleased to announce it. It's crossed 700,000 views here on YouTube.
Damn.
Jean-Claude Van Damme's. And if you look at all the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies we did, they've all done good.
All of them are doing awesome.
They've all, like, I feel like, how do I not...
Even Street Fighter?
Even both times we've done Street Fighter.
Especially Street Fighter. Especially.
It's insane. Double Impact. It's insane. Don't worry. We got more Van Damme movies to come. Action Fest is in July. All right. I know, most dope. 700K, like, it's crazy. Cobra has crossed 125,000, and Stopper My Mom Will Shoot is on our way to 100K.
I love that movie.
Wow, that's the most wildest.
And somehow Surf Ninja still just has like 400 views or some shit. Man. I don't know. I thought Surf Ninjas would be the one. Themes. We've all talked about it. Let me just put it in the way I would say it. genetic discrimination is a
Mhm.
big part of this movie. And determinism is a big part of this movie. And the misguided ethics of eugenics.
Mhm.
So genetic discrimination, where we think somebody is genetically superior, we're going to give them prevalence in society. Here, it's not based on race or country of origin or other factors. It is truly just like based on your ability to fight off disease, your ability to grow muscle, to be a top-notch type person, right? So it's dealing with discrimination based on that, which then you can extrapolate from that other forms of genetic discrimination, whether it's like the color of your skin, whether it's the genetic disposition of your sexuality, whether it's like your disabilities you may have, right? Whether it's certain circumstances that you just like you can't seem like battles of addiction, things like that can have a genetic nature, right? We all the time discriminate on people for genetic reasons and for reasons outside of genetics. That tied into determinism. Are we locked into a fate outside of our own will? That is something that is prevalent in this movie and how that relates to genetic discrimination. And also then the misguided ethics of eugenics. Sounds great, doesn't it? Like if you were having a child, Verno, you're about to have a child again, right? You're a father. Link, you're a father. If you had the opportunity to tell a doctor, I want to make sure my son or my daughter is going to be healthy, have a long life with no genetic defects, who wouldn't make that decision?
For sure.
But what are we actually doing? Because
playing God.
Exactly.
That's fine. You can play a little God. Just don't get carried away.
Well, now we're getting into very philosophical things, and we could spend another hour discussing this. But
let's do it.
To me,
let me get
I think to a lot of us,
right back.
what makes us human? I think it's fragility. Fragility makes us human. I think strong people are fragile, right? If that makes sense. Like I don't mean like physically. I mean like people. Fragility makes us human, and it's that fragility that allows us to understand that everybody else is like us and cultivate a sense of empathy. And it also gives us then something to overcome. If we didn't have things in our way, why would we ever move forward? Do you get what I'm saying? Like
put that on a t-shirt. I like it as far as like real world, kind of what his parents say is like, well, let's just get rid of like, any genetic like diseases or anything like that and leave the rest up to chance. We've learned a lot of lessons from movies about playing God, but I would do that. I think that should almost be like fucking standard, like because the problem is going to be that yes, we can do that now, but only the elite can afford. To do
only
that.
the elite. Yeah. I mean the crap that they pay for. Oh, I want the best odds of having a boy, so I'm going to pay for that.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Well, how does that relate? For instance, you were talking about like families and money, right? So like this would be available only at first to people who could afford it, just like leaving the planet, right? Like Elysium, shit like that, right? And there are other movies that are about like eugenics and this kind of stuff, right? And like I said, even Starship Troopers touches on it just a little bit, not as much as this movie does. But then like, does that relate then to the idea of like a class system or other systemic things that hinder people from being able to succeed in institutions and things like that, right? So like talking about like poor people, people of color, right? Like they have the same like it relates to all that, right? Doesn't it?
For sure.
It's a web, yeah.
Listen, there's one truth that they are always trying to hide from us, and that is that all that this boils down to is a class war. That's all we are ever truly living. And I don't know why I am constantly shouting from the rooftops, go read about the French freaking Revolution. I don't know. I have no more words to say. The French Revolution paints a broad picture. And I'm just like, one of these days it's going to go too far. People are going to snap. There's going to be blood in the streets. And by the way, mind you, The French Revolution, the bourgeoisie won. The rich bitch won.
Have you seen Civil War by Alex Garland, Cliff?
I have not, but we're going to come back to that. But these people saw because the rain happened, they saw the blood running down the streets and through the sewer, and they're like, wow, we really fucked this one up. And they had to go back and revise everything because they saw some of the error of their ways because they lost so many. And with that, Link, I want you to tell me more about what you were saying.
No, that ties into what you were talking about. I think, it's if you're looking at the climate of the world right now, Civil War, it's almost prophetic in how tensions are playing out. It's not too far off to see some shit like, if you've seen the movie, see some stuff like that actually happening.
I hear it's shit. I hear it's really.
Does the whole
good.
Civil War get kicked off over a Bad Bunny halftime show? I'm just curious.
No, but it involves someone who bitches about it quite a bit and tried to throw their own halftime show.
I really want to watch it.
Like
I really love Garland's work. I really do. Like Ex Machina, right? He did
Garland's the best. 28 Days Later, The Beach.
Yeah. I love The Beach. We need
The Beach.
To do The
so
Beach.
underrated.
We got to do The Beach, bro.
We'll love the fucking beach, bro.
Wait till the
all right. Do we need to paper rock scissors? See which one of us chooses it for Crew's choice, because I'm like narrowing mine down right now.
I wouldn't pick it. I got a crazy idea in mind.
I got my idea is a movie that I really want to cover that's going to piss off Jelani, and I just hope he doesn't pull I just found out I have to work because I didn't fucking want to watch it. Lots of great discussions on the theme, man. Like, see, Gattaca is such a great movie. This is a movie worthy of talking about. My favorite thing about science fiction is that it does invite these conversations. Great science fiction film and story in general invites these kind of conversations. And I think our society needs to be a little bit, I think we need to have better sci-fi nowadays, y'all. It doesn't all have to, like, we've gotten too far into just wanting escapism when it comes to film. Like, we need to get back to this, like, a movie like Gattaca, I'm afraid, wouldn't happen today.
Probably not. Did you guys realize why it's called Gattaca?
Yeah, because the DNA sequence.
Yeah, dude. It's
G, A's, and T's. Yeah.
I guess on the second
17
watch,
was kind of trying to do something, but I don't think
what one?
People saw that. Mickey 17.
I haven't seen it yet. No,
that was a good one.
But just, I don't know. I want more chances being taken on this by major studios, right? But I don't know. We're in a different world now, and I could be that old man shaking my fist and yelling at the cloud all day long.
Good point, though.
I could see a remake of this movie.
A24 makes those kind of movies these days. Seems
they'd make it a goddamn fucking 12-episode series on Apple TV, and it would suck.
I can see this being more of a horror, like having more of a thriller tinge to it. You know what I mean? Like a little bit darker.
Yeah, I can see that. The aesthetic is so good in this movie, though.
For sure.
Like there's something about this era of the 90s, some of the best noir influenced films like this, like Usual Suspects, like, man, those movies feel like no other. They feel of an other time, even when they were coming out, right? And even movies like Seven, David Fincher's Seven, feels that way to me. Like there's something about mid to late 90s in film where it's like post independent wave, like indie movies are hitting hard. People like Quentin Tarantino, Richard Linklater, Robert Rodriguez, and Kevin Smith are getting rich off of like no budget fucking movies, clever ideas, and the studios then want to like kind of get their hand into that bucket. And then the MCU happened. So, as much as we love the MCU,
facts.
It's just,
hey, I love how it started, and it's usual. It probably should have stayed away. Everything I've ever enjoyed, as soon as a big corporation bought it, has been ruined.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a good run before Disney. I mean, to be honest, Disney bought them in 2009. They
crushed for a while.
Yeah,
they crushed for a while. They did what comics is. It got too big, and
it got too big, and as usual, they got greedy.
I mean, I think what's fascinating about this whole thing with MCU is like everybody's acting like what institution or conglomerate business does not have a lull period. No one's golden forever. There's always a fall off period. There's always a lull period.
That's how comics
you're Christopher Nolan.
You'll have great runs, and then you'll have like a
Exactly.
mediocre run. You know, it's just
Yes.
the way these kind of stories work.
Ebbs and
Yeah.
flows.
For sure.
Unless you're Christopher
I'm more
Nolan.
concerned.
Yeah, true.
I'm more concerned with the spaghetti western syndrome, right? You know, spaghetti westerns, it became fatigue. People gave up on westerns for quite some time, and I'm just like, and now with superhero fatigue, I just feel like, you know, it just keeps hitting that wall.
Well, people don't want the same.
Well,
You know, I think it's kind of what
formula.
Yeah, it's, you know, something. Wonder Woman, great example of them just doing something different. They let the work speak for it. If you haven't checked out, maybe not it's going to be everyone's, but they tried something different. It's not the usual MCU formula, you know, like, and that's what, you know. I don't think superhero comics are dead. Just that certain formula MCU used for so long, they've got to adapt. You know,
Yeah, and I think we're adapting right now. I think
Yeah.
last year saw a gear shift change in superhero fiction on cinema or in cinema
Yes.
with Superman and Fantastic Four. And I think
Thunderbolt.
now we need to lean back more into Silver Age and make more 90s-esque superhero movies. And I don't mean 90s-esque as in like low budget and not really taking it seriously, but like more like rooted in the golden and silver age of the books, right? So I don't know. I think like Superman worked and Fantastic Four worked because they felt more silver age. They didn't go out of their way to make it feel too modern or too grounded. We're done with the grounded shit.
Thunderbolts over.
We're done with the ground. Thunderbolts was a good movie, but it didn't work as well or make as much waves, I think, as Fantastic.
It didn't make any waves, but
visually. But if you go back, go watch those stories. What feels more like a family? Fantastic.
I love Thunderbolts, man. I think Thunderbolts is a great movie.
I actually enjoyed Thunderbolts more than I enjoyed Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
you know, that's how much how much love I have for Thunderbolts. But again, it came out at a time where like the faith had been so broken, right?
They got to go through this phase.
Had to follow up that Captain America movie.
Yeah.
You know, the cherry blossoms. The cherry blossoms.
Guys,
anyway, let's rate this film.
Few of these I've seen.
Let's rate this film. And by the way, the big one wasn't a Marvel movie last year. It was Superman. Superman is the direction, I think, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. Like, I think people want fun movies. I think we give them fun movies, but this is what's interesting. God damn it, I'm getting distracted again. This is what's interesting. I have made a very conscious effort to make the most of my AMC pass, right? I've watched 4 movies or whatever already. They've all been horror. And I'm like, yeah, the only movies I give a shit about anymore are like the horror movies. By the way, best movie of the year I've seen so far is Bone Temple. Number 2 is Send Help. Worst movie I've seen of the year is fucking Dracula.
Yeah.
I got movie reviews.
Wes hated it too, man.
I gave it a 2.5 and I feel bad, dude. I gave it a 0.5 bump because it's Dracula. And
it's Uwe Boll, though, right? Like, what are we expecting from Uwe Boll's filmography at this point?
No,
like,
it's Luc Besson.
Oh, god damn.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get it. It's time to rate this film. You out there in the chat, out of 5 possible you digs, what would you give Gattaca? Brooks, kick us off here on the panel.
Well, like, I really enjoy this movie, and I like after I watched it the second time it comes on, I was wondering, why isn't this movie like more of a classic? Why didn't it like? But when I think about it, and I think about the time that it came out, it makes a lot of sense. Like, you know, the late 90s was not a time for this kind of like, you know, more introspective type of sci-fi movie. You know, we were all high on like action movies and stuff back then, so I can see why, you know, it flew under the radar back then. But like, I definitely think it needs another, you know, people should like, you know, like give this one, you know, a look. Like I'd recommend like, you know, giving it a couple of watches if you really, really like it. But yeah, it is, despite its kind of grim nature, it does have it has like a little bit of a hopeful kind of bend to it with, you know, the character. He does feel like, he doesn't feel static, you know, he feels like by the end of the movie, he's changed a little bit, you know, whether you think, you know, that's a good thing or not. But so, yeah, I'd say I'd have to be in a certain type of mood to really want to watch this one. So I give it a 4.5. It's not quite like, you know, S tier, I think, but it's pretty close. Like, you know, I think this is a really great movie. And like, you know, I think it definitely has like, you know, a lot, like you can analyze a lot from it, you know. It was a fun movie to like, you know, think about, to kind of study, I guess. it's a film school movie, I guess. It kind of feels like in that way.
It is. I saw some stuff where a lot of people reported that they have watched this movie in like biology classes in college and shit like that, when they're talking about genetics and genetic manipulation and shit like CRISPR and stuff like that, which was brand new when this was coming out. That's why it's hard sci-fi, because it's taking the newest real ideas and kind of extrapolating a story around that. 4.5, Brooks. Very happy to hear that. What about you, Cliff? What do you think? Out of 5, you digs? What do you rate Gattaca?
Oh my good. Well, first of all, I almost 100% agree with Brooks immediately. The movie is oh my God, I can't freaking speak tonight. This movie is smart, stylish, sci-fi that still can touch us after 30 years. All right.
And it's sexy.
And it's definitely sexy. God bless you, Jude Law, in all ages. All right. But anyhow, all that just to say, I still really enjoy this film. I think it's brilliant. I love that time has been kind to this film. After I watched this film, I then went looking for every interview about this film I could find, and I saw some great ones. Yeah, I am going to say 4.5 as well.
Boom.
Hell yeah, 2 4.5s across the board. Seems like we're saying it's an underappreciated science fiction classic from the 90s that's very deep and cerebral, stylish, sterile, and sexy. Because it's got some nice curves in this movie, man. And I ain't talking about Uma Thurman.
And clean.
All right. Verno, what about you? Out of 5 possible you digs, what would you rate this film?
First of all, great conversation. Great, which makes me enjoy the movie even more. I almost want to bump it up more to join you gentlemen at 4.5. But just out of my enjoyment of like my watch of the movie, there's something that, and maybe it could grow. So I'll say 4 with a very strong 4 with a chance to grow. I said my little bit of a beef to it. Little cold for me. And I wonder if I would have liked it better. I don't even know how much I like Ethan Hawke. That might be the problem. Like maybe I just don't like Ethan Hawke that much in this role or something. There was something with it that I didn't connect to it.
Maybe you just don't like Ethan Hawke that much at all.
Maybe.
Brother,
no.
I love Ethan Hawke.
Great actor.
I love Ethan Hawke. Have you seen the Before trilogy? Before Sunrise, Before Sunset?
Yes.
Before Midnight?
Is that Richard
No.
Linklater?
Yeah, Richard Linklater, man.
Well, I mean, I
Beautiful
shouldn't.
French chick. And then, dude, he plays Hamlet in a modernized version of a Hamlet film. Oh, Liev Schreiber's in it. Bill Murray's in it. I love that. Kyle MacLachlan plays his uncle. Dude,
I take it back, Ethan. It's the character. It really is the character. I think
that's fair.
What did the biggest thing to me? But now that Robbie, now that you said that he might have killed the guy, that changes everything. But really, like his reaction to the guy getting killed was like, "Ooh, I just don't like this world has created unlikable people," and I think that made me, you know what I mean, feel distant. And not
do you feel like he would do anything to get to Titan?
Right.
Like extend his legs? Badass fucking scene, by the way.
Right, that was cool. Even the shot of him laying on the floor, Cliff, you pointed out there were so many like pictures, like still shots like that, and that was one that really stood out to me. Yeah, such a good, well shot movie.
You know, clearly there was a gay lens on the cinematography. Bravo.
Yeah, dude. You don't fucking cast Jude Law and Ethan Hawke and I have a gay lens in the fucking movie, man. I love it.
The long looks at each other.
Yeah. They know who's watching these movies.
Don't tell me there weren't long looks. I'm convinced they were fucking. When the camera went away, I'm convinced.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, man, especially that night they get super drunk together. All right.
I was waiting for it.
Before you digs from Verno.
He saved something for him.
What about you, Link? What you sitting on?
Yeah, it was, not my final score, but an easy 4 at the most for me. But, I'll give it a modest, a very solid 4.5 like the rest you gents. Verno, your 4 is a 4.5 in my book. But, this is a great film. I'm glad we had this conversation. More people need to see it. It's very poignant to today's times.
Yeah. So I first wrote down 4.5 on my notes, right? Because this year I've been taking notes so I don't forget things, right? And so I've been enjoying it so far because I'm still able to like be free. But anyway, I wrote 4.5, crossed out the 5 and put a 0 at some point today while I was at work. I was like, it's a 4. because I don't like that they decide to re-swim at the fucking end. That just seems too contrived to me, right? But then this conversation happened, and then I crossed out the fucking cross out and made it a 5 again. I'm going 4.5. Like, the conversation is great. This movie freaking slaps, man. And this is the reason why we have Maya Hawke, is because of Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
Right. We didn't really spotlight it, but the rapport, the relationship between Uma and Ethan, you could feel
their chemistry is real.
Especially
where they met, right? And
one scene in the alley,
So like, I really like it. And I love that. Like, it feels like it has the aesthetic of something like Double Indemnity. Maybe not the grandiosity of another sci-fi neo-noir like Blade Runner, but just as much, if not even more poignant and resonant and nuanced themes, right? Because it doesn't have to be so grandiose, right? So I like that. I don't know. 4.5 from everybody here on the panel, except for Verna, who gave it a 4.
That's a 4.5.
And then we see we got Hydra, we got Jay out there, gave it a 4.5. Chill Out Man says 5 because of the PCP review. Hasn't seen the movie. Two Gun says 4. I would say that's a PCP average of 4.4. 69 dudes.
Bro.
Yeah. Oh. And that 69 is Jude Law and Ethan Hawke. Just for you, Cliff, and a little bit for me. All right. So I would like to put Uma in there as well.
Yes.
And honestly, on certain nights, if I've had too much wine, maybe even Alan Arkin. You never know. You never know what's going on.
Fuck it. Throw Xander Berkeley.
Make sure ASAC Schrader's recording everything, okay? You know, he's filming everything.
Who's that?
Seen this?
Borgnine guy? Toss him in.
The cab driver from Escape from New York, man. It's fucking great. Yeah.
That's
all right.
What it is. Yeah.
What a great conversation, man. But you know what? We're just getting started on SciFi Fest. It's the first time we're doing it. It will definitely not be the last time. It's in conjunction with One Collection Down. So the next episode of SciFi Fest will be Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, over at One Collection Down. I will be there. A little bit of a spoiler, just announcing this movie as science fiction, but we'll be talking about Christopher Nolan's The Prestige. Very, very excited. That's going to be Friday night over at One Collection Down. That's Fable's channel for the conclusion of week 2 of SciFi Fest. And then next week, we're going to be back here on PCP Movie Night on Monday night to kick off week 3 with Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Very excited to talk about that movie. Very excited to talk about both of these movies. 2 of the best American filmmakers of my lifetime. Steven Spielberg, Christopher Nolan, back-to-back science fiction festival
American
movies. He's a British filmmaker.
You know what's weird is like,
but he makes movies for American studios.
You guys ever seen his brother Jonathan Nolan? Like, you would be shocked because like Christopher Nolan has like this very, it's almost subtle British accent at this point. But if you see his brother, who's like, he was a producer, creator of like Westworld, Fallout. No British accent at all. It's like from Chicago, I believe.
Really?
And yeah, it's a very interesting.
What if Christopher Nolan's like Madonna and it's just fake?
That's what's leading me to believe like he's putting on airs with the British accent a little bit, because I believe he has dual citizenship. Like he grew up in the States quite a bit. I'll say 2 of the best Western filmmakers of my lifetime. There you go. All right, very excited for those movies. Brooks, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts. Tell us a little bit about Go Figure Reviews. Jelani sent me some pics.
Oh, yeah. We recently did a video, Go Figure Reviews, of course, of Stingor. Yeah. And Red Wind. Red Wind's all right. He's not as cool as Stingor, but he's all right.
Who the hell's Red Wind?
He's from the Preternia stuff. So he's like hero era.
Or they're just making shit up to make you buy more He-Man figures, man.
Yeah, hell, I'm for it. Shit.
That one's badass, dude. Look at that. That's
Stingor's the shit, though.
The Red Wind is the blue guy?
Yeah, he's like
his mask come off?
Man. But he's got like an iron mask.
Does his mask come off?
Brooke?
Yeah, the mask comes off.
Badass. Okay.
He's got a little sheath. He's got a little knife, and he comes with a spear and a club. So he comes with a decent amount of weapons and extra stuff.
Very cool.
This
one looks so
Stingor,
badass.
That bro.
He's a member of the Horde, man. Look at him.
Yep, he's a Horde assassin.
Jesus, that's fucking badass.
Yeah, and also I'm going to be on the Prestige, so
Nice.
Oh, you're gonna be? Have you ever seen this film?
No, I have not.
Dude, how similar does
Spoilers,
that?
it's a science fiction film.
Does that cover photo look to the Gattaca one? You've got the 3 actors split in the middle. It's like a very, very
gray and
similar.
blue.
I made both of them. I guess I have a certain aesthetic. I would say it's a little bit sterile but dirty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What about you, Cliff? What you got coming up? Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. You'll be back here very soon. Final thoughts. What you got coming up?
I love being here. So this Saturday morning for Comics and Coffee with Cliff, I'm going to have Philobox Comics because, I mean, if I were heterosexual, I would love filling a box. But there is a feel about going through those dollar bins and loading up your short boxes. And I became a wagoneer this past summer. So, now I have the little wagon. I'm one of those obnoxious people with the wagon carrying almost. It's just so convenient, because I was doing a Philobox. I filled 3 boxes. I carried one to the car, and I almost died. I drove 9 minutes to the nearest Walmart, and I bought their last freaking camper wagon thingy, and I came back, I loaded it up, and I'm walking around with it all proud, and my friend Dave's like, what did you do? I was like, I went to Walmart. I got this little wagon. I'm a wagoneer now. And I was like, and look, it can fit the other comics I'm buying. It's great. I got
Are dollar bins still going strong?
Oh yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, man. People
get a good comic show. Go to a good comic show. There's always somebody looking to clean house, and it's great.
No, yeah, there's so many. I didn't necessarily buy them because they're keys, but there's so many books that eventually turned to keys that I got in dollar bins years ago. People can find if that's the thing, or just even run fillers and stuff. People, I think, will be very intimidated when they see dollar bins sometimes because not many shops I've been to keep them organized. It's kind of like you got to pick through.
Most shops don't want to keep them,
right? So, but
you can find. Don't blame the fucking shops. Y'all motherfuckers. Trash dollar bins, okay? So I ain't paying some asshat $12 a fucking hour to fucking organize some dollar books, man. I'm sorry.
Well,
that's fair.
That's one of the reasons my LCS doesn't carry it. It's like there's so much overhead, the work for the dollar books doesn't do it. Now that doesn't mean that he doesn't do the occasional sidewalk sale and everything out there is a buck, but it's controlled. It's not like, we have dollar bins every day. Now, there's this shop in New Jersey that has dollar bins every day, and then 4 times a year, you can go load up for a quarter a book. And I missed it twice. Once because I was in Canada, once because I had COVID. I'm like, the next time this mofo has his special freaking day,
rain or snow, you got to make it.
I'm gonna be there at 9:15 in the morning with the other old men who were shoulder to shoulder with my buddy. I'm gonna make it, and then I gotta look into the Northeast more because Lunch Money has told me, Mike, this. He has told me about all sorts of these good once a year shop things where it's like, oh yeah, fill a box for $70. And I'm like, say less. But so you can see I'm very excited about Philobox being on Saturday morning with me. Of course, if you go to my channel, you can see where I've interviewed multiple people from the comic book community, including Rockin, Robbie over here himself. And I do occasionally have interesting interviews with people who actually are in the industry because I enjoy that too, but it doesn't seem to come as naturally. So you can see my clips over with Velvet Joker. You can see me doing New Keys and Hot Comics with the Council of Comics. And you can see me Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern on Izzyverse NYC, where we do the top trending comics. And I don't know when I get rest anymore. So there we have it.
All right. Thank you so much, Cliff. You are a jewel amongst fucking stones. Verno, thank you so much for being here. What you got coming up? Final thoughts, my man.
Stabathon, baby. Stabathon. We got 2 shows coming up. We have Scream 5. We've been covering a different Scream movie every 2 weeks, and we will continue to do so until Scream 7 comes out on February 27th. So we're on 5 now. That's Thursday on Blood Splatter Chatter, and then the very following night, it's my favorite, some of my favorite shit of the year, some of my favorite shows to do. We're going to bring back the homies. Robbie will be there, Link will be there, Wes will be there, a couple other people, and we're talking Scream 5. We're talking Friday the 13th, Part 5, playing some trivia, some slasher theme trivia, and giving away 2 Jason masks.
Come watch me win a mask again. Bitch.
I hope so. It's good.
I don't know. You know that Wes right now is watching these movies 8 times each throughout this week, man.
It's not just to specify. It's not just Friday the 13th trivia. It might be a little heavy on the Friday.
I'm putting that out there,
but it's going to be
right
slasher themed trivia.
Look at the synchronicity. You didn't plan this. Just so happens, Scream 5, Friday 5.
I know.
Same week. Back to back.
I like it. Thank you, Too Good. Appreciate the dropping the link down there. Yeah, go check us out. It's gonna be fun. The show is at 6:30. We're gonna talk Friday the 13th, part 5 for a little bit, and then we'll jump into the trivia. We got a few different segments. Robbie needs to be out of there in an hour and a half to do SciFi Fest. So come be there early, because who knows when we're gonna start the trivia, but it will end at 8:00, and we'll get up out of there.
I'm so excited because this is the one I've been really looking forward to. I will defend this movie till my dying fucking day, dude.
I love it.
All right. I love this fucking movie. And I love how every time we do one of these, we're like, when's the next Friday the 13th? And you're always like, oh, it's not till then. And we're like, oh, that's forever. And now it's like, fuck, it's here.
By. Yeah.
And then there's another one next month.
Dude, it's great. I kept on saying, like, oh, there's only 2 this year. We get 2 this year. They're back to back. But there's another one in October, I think, or November. So there's 3. We're going to be at Friday the 13th, part 7 by the end of this year, which is crazy. We started this in 2023, doing a movie every Friday the 13th.
Friday, yeah.
And we'll be at part 7 by the end of this year, which is crazy.
Dude, what an epic fucking marathon. We're like the Joe Bob Briggs of the fucking Friday the 13th on YouTube, man. That's what we're doing. Hell yeah, man. Friday the 13th. It's a nice double feature for me. Going from Friday the 13th, part 5, A New Beginning, to The Prestige. That's a nice, interesting double feature.
That is so fucking another one of the greatest filmmakers of whoever the fuck made Friday the 13th, part 5. Put him on
a little bit before that, I'll be having a conversation with writer Chuck Brown. So that's going to be fun too. So.
Nice.
Same day?
Yep, same day.
Man,
3.
you're
it's just
a busy
the
boy.
fucking
Busy
way
Friday,
it happens sometimes.
And this motherfucker told me, he's like, I don't know. It's the day before Valentine's Day. I don't know if I can swing it. And here he is.
I know, man. I was like, well, I'm not doing anything the day before Valentine's Day, but I'll make Valentine's Day extra special. Link, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts. What you got coming up, man? I know you're going to be on some of these shows Verno was talking.
Yeah, everything Verno just said for Blood Splatter Chatter, but he said it better than I could say. I'll be over there though, winning a mask next Friday. But yeah, final thoughts. I'm glad we covered this movie. This was a really good conversation, and to the theme of this movie, like I think people. Yeah, there's only ever going to be one you. Everyone is uniquely themselves, and everyone has some value or to offer, and there's something they do better than or differently than everyone else. Don't forget that, folks.
Mine is Throat Goat.
Jesus.
Is that one of the He-Man action figures that Brooks was talking about? Throat
That's
Goat?
Trap Jaw. That's Trap Jaw.
It's this one right there. That's Throat Goat. He's the one down at the bottom.
All right, I can take out Shumagorath too. Yeah, baby.
Legally, that's not Shumagorath. It's Giganto or whatever the fuck, right?
Gargantos.
My bad. Legally, it's not Shumagorath.
He looks exactly like Shumagorath.
It is Shumagorath.
Different names there.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here for the movie review of Gattaca, part of SciFi Fest here on PCP Movie Night and over at One Collection Down. Go check out Verno, Link, and the crew for Stabathon as they talk about Scream 5 on Thursday night. And then on Friday, join us over at Blood Splatter Chatter. I will be there to talk about Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Right after that, continuing Sci-Fi Fest on One Collection Down. Find me over at The Prestige. And then next week, back here for Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Go check out Brooks and Jelani on Go Figure Review. Go check out Cliff on Comics. We're dipping out. We love you. Can't think of a quote from this movie, so I'm just going to be like, Xander Berkeley, not a douchebag in this movie. Pretty cool.